It's been a few weeks since the Animal Crossing New Horizons 3.0 update came out, and I have some thoughts, feelings, and opinions. So I figured we could sit down today and have a little chat about the update, about everything that came with it. I'm going to touch on the 3.0 update as well as the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade pack, and then conclude this video with my overall opinion on: is it worth it? Is it worth the money? Is it worth your time and energy? And is it worth mine? Or has it been worth mine? Let's just dive straight in. One of the big things that came with the 3.0 update was the addition of the hotel on the pier. Now, this was very cute on day one, don't get me wrong. I loved seeing all of Capin's family and doing the hotel rooms, seeing what villager would come. I think my first villager was Bob, which I was so excited for because I love Bob. He's such a cutie pie. But I did find that it got boring quite quickly. I did all of the 8 hotel rooms to unlock all of the furniture that you can get in the catalogue. I also did the VIP room as well, which seems a bit random. I suppose it's so that you've got one you can decorate every day. But ultimately, once I had acquired the tickets that I needed for the catalogue items that I wanted to buy, I didn't really see the point in going back to doing the VIP rooms because the catalogue isn't huge. It has some really cool stuff, do not get me wrong. I love the circle cushion, I like the cat plushie, and the tubular stuff is really cool. Maybe in the future I will go back and want to purchase some more items, but as it stands currently, I'm not really working on the interior of my house, so a lot of the items didn't really feel necessary for my gameplay currently, and so ultimately it just felt like it wasn't worth my time. The best part of the addition of the hotel, in my opinion, is that you do get another boat tour from Capin, which you can use your tickets for. To me, that is the only incentive to keep doing the hotel rooms, or alternatively crafting the items that Tom Nook talks about. Now again, for me this got quite stale once I realised that I was kind of just doing it for the sake of doing it and I didn't need the tickets anymore. I haven't really touched it in a couple of weeks, if I'm totally honest, because again, I kept getting the same Capin boat tours, so I just stopped wasting my miles and tickets on them. It feels like to me this hotel should have come with the Happy Home Paradise DLC update. It just seems a bit odd. When I was decorating these hotel rooms and playing the game, it kind of felt like, oh, so it's just Happy Home Paradise but less. And it almost feels like that should have been a teaser for Happy Home Paradise, you know? Oh, you enjoyed playing the hotel? You can do more of this with Happy Home Paradise if you pay for it. Like, it feels like it was the wrong way round. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. I do still need to unlock the retro consoles though, but again, something like that I feel is very gimmicky. I don't know how often I would actually sit and play them. I do pay for a Nintendo Switch Online membership, which you do need to play the retro games on these in-game consoles. But if you don't, then they're pretty pointless, I suppose, unless you do want them for decoration, you know, if you were doing a little games room in the basement kind of thing. But yes, I do still need to unlock those and try them, but again, I'm just not really feeling motivated to do the hotel. Controversial, I love having the villagers roaming around my island. I think it's so fun and so cool. Yes, there is some unfortunate looking villagers currently on Gustville, but it's also really fun when you see that villager that like you've not had on your island ever and you really wanted them and they just pop up out of nowhere and it's like, oh my gosh, you're here, I love you, you're here. So I do think it's really fun. It definitely feels a bit more vibrant and bubbly. You know, there's pretty much someone always everywhere on the island now. So I know that a lot of people really hate that addition, but I really like it. Another huge part of the update were the Slumber Islands. Now, I've only really dabbled in this because I think it's going to be more fun with friends. However, I don't really have a lot of Switch friends. I also feel like it is for the players who have done their island. They have their forever island, they don't want to touch it, they don't want to erase it, but they still want to play the game and maybe decorate something new. And I feel like it's a great way to showcase that, you know, do some island tours on YouTube if you really wanted to, without having to delete your current island. So I feel like that part of the update is for the decorators, which I love. Just personally for me, because I have literally just restarted my island, I don't really feel the need to use it because I'm decorating my own island over here. Although I will say it was pretty disappointing that the only building on the Slumber Islands that you can have is your house. Like, I need my Nook's Cranny, that's like filler. Who knows, hopefully that might come with a future update, but for the time being, you can't have any of the buildings on the Slumber Islands. I'm not creative enough to make my own buildings like some people do, so that is a bit of a letdown for me. Also with the 3.0 update came Rossetti. He is back and better than ever, baby. The Rossetti service, the reset service, I think is fantastic as a whole. I did use it to reset my island, my new island, just because I had a lot of shit left everywhere, basically, to try and get me up to the 3 stars so that I could unlock all of this new content. And do you know what? He did a fantastic job. I'm now in a predicament of where I have a section of my island where I could really use Rossetti to come and pick up all the flowers, because flower breeding has gotten out of control. I can't manage it anymore. But I need those flowers gone so that I can actually terraform and decorate over there. But 60,000 bells for him to just pick some flowers up. I'm trying to weigh it up, guys. Is it worth it? I don't really have a lot of money right now in game, but because treasure islands are impossible to get to, so you've got to play it like it was meant to be played. So I don't have a great deal of money at the minute, but I don't know if it's worth it for the smaller areas. Definitely fantastic for the larger areas though. I'm really glad that they brought Rossetti back because he's so cute and I love him. Hands down for me, the best thing that was added in the 3.0 update was book crafting. This has been a godsend, like, let me tell you. The ability when I'm like in the grind, I'm in the moment, I want to get this section done on my island, and I can just go and craft 10 log stakes and not have to spend the next 20 minutes mashing the A button to get through that part. Oh, it's incredible. Hands down the best part. Finally, as part of the 3.0 update, the addition of the Splatoon and Zelda items that came with if you have the amiibos. I really like these items because they're very, very nice, and some of them are even interactable. You can even customize some of them. I feel like they add a lot to the game in many different ways, not just if you want to create like a Zelda area on the island, but also the Silent Princesses are just so like cottagecore that I think a lot of people really, really appreciate the addition of those. I really like Mineru as a villager. She's so stinking cute. Obviously, you know, you do have to have the amiibos, which luckily I did already have a Zelda one already. I probably would have gone out and bought one if not. I haven't had the chance to look at any of the Splatoon items simply because I'm not a Splatoon player, so I don't have any of the amiibos. But again, I like when they do things like this because it just adds a bit of fun to the game and a bit of like, oh, Nintendo, what are you doing? The Switch 2 edition, this costs £4.99 in the UK, and you can buy it through the eShop if you have a Switch 2, if you already own the game. I think it's just another £4.99 on top of the full retail price if you are buying the physical game as a whole new copy. In terms of what the Switch 2 edition brought, we got improved graphics, which it took me a second to see how it was improved, but once I noticed. It does look very, very smooth, very clean. I really enjoy it, and to be honest, I mostly play my Switch on the TV downstairs, which does have 4K 60 ability, so if I have a way that I can play games at 4K, I'm gonna do it. Even the high resolution on handheld, it still looks really, really good. In terms of whether it's worth it for that, I think it's just very much dependent on how you enjoy playing your games. If you only ever play handheld, I probably wouldn't suggest that you need the higher resolution graphics because I don't know that it's going to be that noticeable to a casual player. But if you are someone that appreciates a higher quality graphic, then I feel like £5. Although I do think that these graphical updates should be free. Like, what do you mean I've just spent £500 on a freaking Switch 2 and now I've got to pay more just to get better resolution? But that's a whole other tangent. I think £5 is worth it. It's minimal compared to some of the other upgrade pack costs. So it really just depends on you as a person as to whether that is something that's important to you. Another thing with the Switch 2 upgrade was the addition of mouse controls. Now, I did try this out on my first hotel room. I have not touched them since. Because I don't know if it's just me, like I am at my PC every single day. I use a mouse for work all day long. Like I would say easily minimum 10 hours a day I'm using a mouse. But the Switch 2 mouse controls are so finicky, and I feel like I don't know which buttons I'm pressing. It ultimately just felt easier to decorate the way that I know how to decorate at the end of it. I can imagine that it is so much easier on custom designs, but I don't really dabble in that, so I can't comment. But for decorating, I did find it very awkward, and it did start to hurt my wrist a little bit. So overall, I don't really think that mouse controls are for me. The other item that came with the Switch 2 upgrade pack is the megaphone. Again, it's very gimmicky. I used it once. I just don't really feel the need to use it. My island isn't that complex that I can't find the villager that I'm looking for, but I can imagine if you have a very like meticulous, item heavy, very nook and cranny style island, then the megaphone would definitely be useful if you're trying to locate a certain villager. In terms of the online features, the Switch 2 update came with the ability to play with 12 players now instead of 8. I haven't been able to test this out because I don't know 12 people that have a Switch 2. In like total honesty, there's not that many people, you know, IRL online that have brought the Switch 2. So I've just not been able to test it out. From what I've seen, it's painful to go through that many airport loading screens, but yeah, so it's great that you can play with more people, but I feel like Nintendo should have really improved the online infrastructure so that it didn't take all that time. So yes, that's pretty much everything that came with the Switch 2 upgrade pack. Now, is it worth the $4.99? It is to me, but I also love Animal Crossing games. I have my entire life, and of course I was gonna buy it. You know, it could have been shit on a stick for $4.99, but has Isabelle on it, so I would have bought it, you know? I don't know if you can see, I do collect Animal Crossing games. I have all the mainline games. Eventually I will be buying the physical Nintendo Switch 2 version, but for now the $4.99 upgrade was worth it to me, just so that I could experience it. And as well, I paid a lot of money for my Switch 2, so I am gonna reap the benefits of playing my favorite games in the best resolution that they can be. And there is, I think as well, definitely quicker loading screens. But is that worth it to you? I think it all comes down to preference. You know, £5, could that be spent better elsewhere? But it's also quite cheap in comparison to other upgrade packs for other games that came out. There isn't a great deal of content for that. That's what the 3.0 update was for. Yeah, I think the biggest part is going to be the resolution. So, you know, have a look online, do your comparisons, and see whether that is worth it for you. However, I do think if you are a more casual gamer, you know, you maybe just dabble in it once or twice a month, if that, you probably don't need it. I don't think you'll notice the difference, if I'm being truthful. What are my overall thoughts that nobody asked for? I love the fact that this update has brought so many people back to the game. I've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons pretty much on and off since it came out. There was a recent interview with Nintendo's president Furukawa, apologies if I have mispronounced that, and he advised to populate a new platform, it is necessary to regularly release new titles. In that sense, we wanted to update Animal Crossing New Horizons and Splatoon 3, which have been big sellers on the Switch. At this time, to allow more people to play the Switch and to create a flow that allows consumers to switch to the Switch 2 at their own pace, such as when a new title that interests them is released. Which gives the impression that, you know, Animal Crossing was always needed to come to the Switch 2 to move those players along. We said that from day one, I think. But this is why it's confusing that it was never a release title, which I think many people really thought was coming, whether that was going to be an update or a brand new game. The Switch 2 having Animal Crossing as a release title would have just skyrocketed the numbers. I am very surprised that this update didn't either come out at that time in June last year or very close to the time, you know, similar to when Donkey Kong Bonanza came out, because I feel like they could have really played on the hype of this brand new console, but also throw in Animal Crossing, you've got everyone coming back to the Switch. I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit too late. But ultimately, it does feel like their plan has worked, because the amount of people that have come back to their Switches to play Animal Crossing after months, if not years, of not playing is in the masses, and it's really, really cool to see. How long this will last for, I'm not sure. I really hope that this is not the last update that we have, because there is still a lot of stuff that people want from this game, stuff that was in previous games that we still haven't had. I, for one, don't understand why we still don't have more shop upgrades. I'm not saying we need a Nookingtons, but if you're adding a hotel and 8 more villagers per day on my island, poor Timmy and Tommy can't cope in that tiny little shop. That's all I'm saying. But over the past month of playing, I felt super nostalgic playing Animal Crossing again. You know, whether it's the Tarantula Islands or flower breeding, you know, just spending a lot of time designing areas on my island and interacting with my villagers. It feels super nostalgic, and who doesn't want to feel nostalgia? As I mentioned before, it does unfortunately feel like this update was too little too late. The last free major update that Animal Crossing New Horizons received was in November of 2021, so a little over 4 years between the 2.0 and 3.0 update. You might say, well, Animal Crossing New Leaf received an update 3 years after. I would say you are correct. New Leaf did receive the Welcome Amiibo update 3 years after the game came out, but I feel like the difference with that is New Leaf always felt like a complete game. It never felt like it was lacking anything. So when the Welcome Amiibo update came out, it added everything I didn't know that I wanted. Whereas with New Horizons, the updates have always added things in that I feel should have been in the original game from the get-go. On top of that, the updates also add in items or characters or things from previous titles that have been there the whole time. You know, to a veteran player like me, it's not new. I can't remember if it was 2.0. I think it was the 2.0 update that brought Brewster. And it was a little bit like, he should have been there from the start. Poor Brewster. And like in New Leaf, he had his whole cafe, and now you've just downgraded him to a little corner in the museum again. It's not on, Nintendo. It's not on. I think as well, for something like Rossetti and his reset service, Nintendo really missed the ball here, because something like this being available in that 2020, 2021 period of time where hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world were still playing this game, something like that would have just prolonged everyone's gameplay. I feel like a lot of people got burnt out, they deleted their saves and reset their islands and couldn't really get into that mojo again. They put the game down and haven't touched it since. So having something like that reset service where they could completely reset their island but without having to get rid of their bells, their Nook miles, their villagers, everything that they've worked really hard for, could have made someone who'd already poured 300 hours into this game pour another 300 hours into the game. Anyway, I could talk about this all day long, but overall, I did like the update, and I will be forever grateful when we get anything that's Animal Crossing related. And I'm so glad to see people remembering just how fun this game can be, no matter how you enjoy playing it. I just hope we don't have to wait another 3 years for any sort of update or new game. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching this video. You can find me on my socials at Nintendem_. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the update. Have you played it all the way through yet? Have you played it for a day and put your Switch down and got bored? I am very intrigued to know, after a month has gone by, after the hype has settled down, what you think about this update. And let me know something that you would like in a future update as well. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. Mwah! Bye!